It was on my thing too. At this time, I'd like to call the November 7th, 2024 regular meeting of the Common Council City of Plattsburgh to order. It's now 5:32 p.m. If you can, please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Farley, will you please conduct a roll call?
Mayor Rosas.
Here.
Council Bond.
Here.
Council Avery.
Here.
Council Gibb.
Here.
Council Talon.
Here.
Council Manette.
Here.
Council Moore.
Here.
All councilors have received a copy of the minutes of the October 17th, 2024 regular meeting. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections, I'll now entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Motion by Councilor Avery, second by Councilor Manette. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'll now recognize those in the audience who wish to share their thoughts and concerns with the council on any topic. Please come to the podium to be acknowledged. When called upon, we do ask that you please state your legal name and address for the record. In accordance with the organizational rules of order, all speakers will be given 5 minutes to address the council.
Hello, I'm Mike Kelly. I'm a citizen and I live at 14 Smith Street, Plattsburgh, New York. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. I know it's budget season and you're probably anxious to get out of here after a long day of budgeting. But I'm here today to praise all the efforts made this year that have resulted in making Plattsburgh a better place to live. For example, I would like to praise the efforts made to beautify and modernize downtown Plattsburgh. It is truly a different experience to visit downtown now, and you can feel the increased energy. Is there more work to do? Yes, of course. There will always be more work to do, but anytime we can move the momentum in a positive direction, that is a big win. Second, I would like to praise the city for its efforts to maintain and improve public space. The parks improvement projects will serve the city for many years to come. The City Beach and Betty Little Park have become major summertime attractions. Third, I know that residents all over the city are benefiting from improved infrastructure, be it roads, better water systems, or municipal power projects. Fourth, I just want to say how much I have come to appreciate the beautification projects that give us all pride. I'm thinking specifically of the new City Hall roof, and I hope there's a celebration for that at some point. It is a good reason to celebrate. It is a site that can be appreciated from many angles, including the waterfront. And speaking of the waterfront, it has been so much fun to visit the waterfront this year from the land or from the water. Please continue these efforts and watch our city grow and thrive. I would now like to speak about an additional item that was investigated, appeared to be resolved, but has since resurfaced. In February 22, the Public Safety Committee, of which I was a member, was charged with conducting an investigation into reports of corruption at the city police department. We did our job and we reported back to the city council that summer. However, because of the sensitive nature of the complaints, nothing ever went public. After the council report, I fully expected the reports of corruptions to cease. Furthermore, Acting Chief Bud York made it very clear that he would not tolerate divisiveness animosity or inappropriate influence from outside his department. Things improved on Bud's watch. However, last month I was dismayed to learn that the same old problems that existed in the police department back in 2022 have resurfaced. There are two camps in the police department. One camp supports a former police chief in his efforts to horn in on current police business. The second camp just wants the city police department to do its job in a non-corrupt fashion that best serves the public every day. Therefore, I heartily recommend that the council approve the resolution to begin a new police department investigation, one that will hopefully rout out all the corruption and make it go away permanently. Many councilors use the word transparency as their battle cry. Here's a chance to live that transparency. I would strongly suggest that the council start with the investigation report that was done in 2022 and go from there. The council is also encouraged to bring in an impartial investigative body to ensure neutrality. Something like an internal affairs department that you might find in larger police departments. Perhaps you could tap the state police or even the county sheriff's office to help with that. Again, the council routinely speaks of transparency. Now is the time for you to bring that notion to life by voting yes for the police department investigation. This is respectfully submitted by Mike Kelly, citizen 14 Smith Street, Plattsburgh, New York. And I ask that this report be added to the meeting minutes.
Thank you. Anybody else who'd like to address the council on any side?
Hi, my name is Cindy Snow. I live at 34 South Peru Street in Plattsburgh. I'm also going to address the same issue. So I was away last week and it was kind of interesting because I was following along all the news on, Press Republican and this and that. And when I first started reading about everything, I was like, well, in the face, it's kind of just a disciplinary action, a little aberrant behavior, maybe failure to perform some duties, but I'd also heard all this rumbling about some corruption on the police force, and I was like, it might be crossing a line, and I was concerned about that. And I also want to fully support an investigation into our police department, and I'm going to tell you why. I was just on that really fine line between discipline and investigation, but when I read the quotes in the Press Republican related to the FOIL request, I realized that that behavior may have exceeded what should be allowed in our city. And I still am going this fine line. Was it small town conversation in these emails? Right, one way to look at it, or was it shadow dispatching? And I'm concerned about that. What shadow dispatching is, for those people that don't know, it is when police supervisors dispatch an officer to a location outside of the records of the police department. That is a very big concern for me, and it should be a concern for everyone in this room. So again, was it small town conversation that a political candidate was drinking at Mickey's? Was that it? I think it goes a little bit farther when the response was 10-4. Does it mean, oh, I gotcha, yeah, he's drinking at Mickey's, or is it 10-4, I'm gonna go investigate? The second thing that happened was in the quotes from the Press Republican, he was saying that some of his fellow officers were at the 4th Ward. For those people that don't know this word, 4th Ward is a drinking establishment. And again, the response was from his fellow officer that was shadow dispatched. I'm not seeing their cars at this time. Okay, this is a problem, you guys. This is bad stuff. So I fully support an investigation, but I'm going to change things just a little bit for everybody. There is an actual law in New York State that says when there is corruption or misconduct in a police department, that the agency has a duty to report. We don't have a police chief right now. So I want to compel you as the council and mayor to report this corruption and bad behavior to the Attorney General's office. There's actually a specific office within the Attorney General's office called the Law Enforcement Misconduct Investigation Office. And there's a law also, and I'm going to give you guys copies. I had already given my counselor a copy, that the agency must report wrongdoing to the LEMOIO, that's the Law Enforcement Misconduct Investigation Office, under Article 75(5)(a). And also it goes on to say that either a member of the public or law enforcement officers, which we don't have right now. So I think you would be the chief, since we don't have one, must report that. It's a duty to report. As you guys know, I have had a long career, 25 years in compliance auditing in a lot of different types of services in terms of government, healthcare, financial institutions, etc. And I'm just going to compel you to please do the right thing and investigate this, so all the citizens of Plattsburgh are safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yep.
I'm introducing into the record, executive law section 75. Thank you.
Anybody else would like to address the council on any topic?
I'm here, most of you are familiar with Terry Gordon Path. And if you go down Terry Gordon Path, you'll see when you come to the memorial for Terry Gordon, there's a swath of land where you can actually see the lake. And that's because the individuals that live at Harborview, sorry, I'm sorry, environmental, it's Club Road, Plattsburgh, New York. Raise funds ourselves. We would hire a contractor and do work there. We worked with Canadian Pacific Railroad in the initial stages. If maybe you may not know that was a completely wooded area a number of years ago with trees that were 40, 50 feet high. That has all been removed now, and now there's saplings and there's brush. There are still some trees that were left that Canadian Pacific said you do not touch these trees because they're potential for moving the ground and the tracks. So we've been doing that now for a number of years, and it costs, you know, $2,000, $3,000 a year to do that. And again, it's residents that live in that area that contribute that money to do that. And so I'm asking our right of entry agreement that we've had for the last 2 years was ended. And so I'm asking the council to renew the right of entry agreement so that we can continue to do this work on that piece of property for the next 3 years. So that's primarily my request. But I do have a second issue that I want to get in my 5 minutes. I want to highlight a concern about public safety. And this is a personal issue for me. I never was involved in the sidewalks in the city of Plattsburgh. But about 4 weeks ago, my wife face planted on the sidewalk because the sidewalk was raised out. It tripped her, she fell, shattered the bone on her eye socket on the bottom, severely injured. There's going to be surgery now on her eye. So I walk a lot and she walks a lot around US Oval, those areas here. And we need what I would say are safe, accessible, well-maintained sidewalks in Plattsburgh. And these sidewalks are fundamentally necessary, not just because it's good to have sidewalks, but it contributes to mental health, public health, safety for all individuals that live in this city, and not just around Raleigh. In your ward, Elizabeth, and you will find problems with the sidewalks. So what I'm doing is asking essentially, will the council take the lead with the mayor to meet with the Public Works Department and let them figure out how to address maintenance for the sidewalks in the city of Plattsburgh. There should be, similar to what they did on the road paving, where they adjusted their approach to road paving, and they've expanded the number of roads that are being paved in the city of Plattsburgh. They need to look at the sidewalks, and there needs to be a maintenance plan that whether they do the roads by, we're gonna do Margaret Street and we're gonna do some other street today, well, they can do the sidewalks and they can say, we're gonna examine these sidewalks. And we're gonna figure out if there are trip hazards, if the center of the sidewalk is all crushed, and it's a trip hazard. The trees on the side of the sidewalk are raising the sidewalks, the roots, it's a trip hazard. And I think they can come up with a plan, I suspect, and I know they can do this. But it's gonna need the council's direction to create a maintenance plan for sidewalks in the city of Plattsburgh. And I can guarantee you that there are large numbers of people who are falling on these sidewalks. And we ought to be able to prevent that down the road. I appreciate it. Listen, thanks.
Thanks, sir. Anybody else would like to address the council on any topic?
Hello, for the record, my name is Jonathan Joseph Chiarella. I live at 22 Cornelius Street here in the city. I have spoken about something similar to what the last gentleman spoke about. And I have noticed that some streets don't even have any sidewalks at all. There's a section of Broad Street that doesn't, if this goes up to the budget, and the more trips we can do on foot or other means, the cheaper it is, the less money we spend on repaving. And as far as public safety, that is a great point. Public safety needs to be more than just punishing and catching deviants. It's about a proactive approach that makes things more accessible. And for any city, if you want to have a place where people will stay in retirement and people want to stay, that will help with property taxes and people will spend. Especially if they're on a fixed income and they're drawing it from somewhere else, they're bringing that money into Plattsburgh and spending it here. In addition to any mobility problems or tripping and injuries, I know somebody who is she uses a wheelchair. She's not in Plattsburgh, I know her remotely, but sometimes these topics come up and people say, well, I don't see any people with vision problems, or I don't see any deaf people who need certain things. Well, maybe there's a reason. If I were to say have a child and that child had mobility problems, I would move out of here. I wouldn't stay here. That would not be fair to do somebody in that position. So sidewalks is not just for the safety of people walking on them. It's for, think about wheelchair users. If somebody's visiting here, are they able to get around? Are they able to spend money in the city? Are they able to enjoy it? Do they want to stay here? And we can't build Rome in a day, but we can make things a little bit better bit by bit. And I thank you for your time.
Anybody else would like to address the council on any topic? Okay.
Hello, I'm Sharon Thoreau. I am at 52 Cumberland Avenue, so I'm in Ward 5. Hi, David. Would love to talk to you sometime. I just moved back from to Plattsburgh a couple years ago, and been trying to read the paper, trying to be a good citizen. I'm really hoping, I'm here tonight because I'm really hoping that, I don't want to get nervous, that the investigation, that you will vote on the investigation with the police department, because I believe in transparency. And I also believe that the sooner the investigation, I think I've heard talk about maybe waiting until the mayor steps down. I don't think that that should be done. I think if you are really worried about the investigation, you should do it now. And if transparency is really important to you, you should do it now. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to address the council on any topic?
Christina Poirier, I live at 1 Riggy Way in Ward 1. And I also would like to state for the record that I am in favor of an investigation. I agree we shouldn't wait until the mayor leaves, that has nothing to do with it. If it's been brought to your attention, it's your duty to look into it. So I am in favor of that. I've heard other people tonight. I hope you really listen to what residents are saying. And I hope you do investigate. Thank you.
Anybody else like to address the council on any topic?
Hello. Oops.
It's not.
It just picks up your voice.
Oh,
It
okay,
doesn't-
thank
It
you.
doesn't cast out, yeah.
Thank you, okay. Jared Tarbox, 45 Count Street in Plattsburgh. I'd also like to back up the mayor for an investigation as well. I think I've been following the issues, and at first I thought, well, maybe this is a little petty, you know, this is just people using their cell phones like we all do. People forget personal work to separate them out. But then as I started, following it, Cynthia informed me, I think we need transparency. I think you shouldn't wait. I met a lot of the officers, they're good officers. I'm not trying to outcast anybody, but it needs to be done because we have a lot of young officers, and I think it's leading by example. Because I just think of myself like, I don't drink, but what if I go to a bar, right? Piss somebody off. Next thing you know, maybe I might be shadowed. So I just think it needs to, can't wait. And I encourage everybody to vote to open an investigation and just see where the chips fall. Thank you.
Anybody else like to address the council on any topic? I'll now move on to correspondence and recommendations, special committees. We do have a presentation from the redistricting committee, so I will ask the chairperson who was here, or representative of the city redistricting, to come and do their presentation for the council.
The good news is we don't have to.
Yeah.
There were just four people who got together to try to just be sure that we kind of solve the basis. So, like, I'm Jim Conlon, to there, like, begin by taking a quick look at the report that we shared with the council last week. And I just want to tell everybody that the things that the law requires are here, that the districts have to be within 5% for the smallest and the large. Oh, there, sorry. Another one. And that we want to try to make sure that we align with a municipality, in this case, the county legislative districts. And we try to have as little change as possible. And that, the geography doesn't make an impact on it. And so, as the data showed, the growth in wards 1 and 2 really were driving the need to leave the portion. And that was the basis of it. Now, there was a prior committee that did some work on this, actually did very good work on it. And so when we reviewed their findings, we found that everything seemed to be well done. However, there were a couple things that came up during our review that caused us to make some minor changes to the recommendations that they brought you last year. Yeah.
All right, so happy to answer any questions, getting more into the laws regarding how redistricting is supposed to be done. We're just kind of trying to give you a brief overview, so we're not keeping you here all night. So one of the things that I just want to point out in terms of why some of the boundaries are drawn the way they are is, one of the main guiding principles is that census blocks cannot be divided in any way. And the way that some of the census blocks are drawn in the city make things incredibly challenging. So that blue outline you're seeing, that's one census block that has two other census blocks kind of like dropped in the middle of it. So even though there's a portion of that is, that's not the cemetery.
That's 0 right there?
Yeah, so that's
Dale
0.
Park.
Yeah, so we had to deal with things like this when we were drawing the boundaries, and we had to try and shift things in a way that made sense. So it makes this process really tedious. It causes a lot of issues in terms of when you're just kind of 1 or 2 over in a district. Sometimes you're faced with situations where you have to drag over an entire census block that then puts you over, it causes a lot of shifting back and forth. We also have to contend with things such as natural barriers, such as the Saranac River. We try to cross things like that as little as possible when we were drawing boundary lines. And only crossing those areas when it made sense. There are other principles as well, such as we shouldn't, draw things that look like they're potentially favoring or disfavoring either incumbents or political parties. Population data has to be used that specifically locates incarcerated individuals back to their home addresses. That's a specific data set that the census releases to us. And then one of the other guiding principles we try to kind of adhere to is the just keeping in mind the general neighborhood characteristics of the places as they currently exist in the city. As we all know, like each ward kind of has a different feel to them, so we try to preserve that as much as possible. We can go to the next slide. So these are the current ward boundaries as they stand. As we showed you in the previous slide, wards 1 and 2 ended up being significantly over, as we've seen a lot of development in wards 1 and 2. Really, the location of most of the developable land in the city at this point. So between 2010 and 2020, there was a huge shift in the kind of center of where the population is in the city. So it kind of causes everything to rotate around to try to accommodate that. And then I think the next slide we started just on, yeah. So just kind of wanted to highlight the way that the words are changing. So the pink area is kind of showing you the way that we shifted Ward 1 in order to kind of try to keep it a contiguous district that made sense. The purple boundary is what it used to be, so as you can see, it kind of shifted up north a little bit, and it came down to the south of the city a little more. You can go to the next slide. Ward 2 kind of just expanded out a little bit to the north, to the northeast. We also had to pick up a couple of people down here as we shifted around the other districts. We can go to Ward 3. Ward 3, we decided that we were going to try and keep the university as kind of a continuous all-in-one ward. We've had a lot of, in the past, part of the university was in Ward 2. So all the individuals that live on campus were going to a voting location that was off campus for them rather than going to field house like half the people that live on campus. So we thought in terms of preserving the neighborhood characteristics, it made more sense to create a contiguous district that included all of the on-campus students for SUNY. All right, so Ward 4, very little change, dragged in like the census blocks. Ward 4 was just a little bit under, so there really didn't need to be a ton of changing there, and we were able to just follow some people from Ward 5 essentially. All right, Ward 5. Again, a little bit over, or not, it was a little bit under. So we had to shift down and grab a couple of census blocks right here. So it's just kind of shifting a little further on Margaret Street. I'm like, I think here. No, that's not Margaret, that's Oak Street. So basically, we grabbed some blocks on either side of Oak Street to help bring them up within the range. And then Ward 6. Probably the biggest change, we ended up having to kind of grab the entire center of the city in order to get that to be up too far in terms of where it needed to be for population. We ended up having to shift it this direction after some considerations brought to our attention with our previous recommendations that we were going to put forward. So this is kind of where we ended up. So I think there's one more that just kind of shows. I know it was brought to my attention how confusing this map is. It was supposed to have a transition effect, but essentially the blue boundaries are the old wards and this purple boundary is the new ones that we're proposing. So again, happy to answer any questions in terms of how we feel these were shifted. We did hold a public hearing and nobody really had any specific comments in terms of the way the board were shifted. Mostly just asked some clarifying questions regarding the redistricting law. So this is what we are putting forward to the council.
Just to be clear on one point, Shannon mentioned that try not to favor any individuals or political parties. And when last year's committee put their recommendation together, a councilor elected this year was not running. So when we looked at that, we had to get Had to modify Ward 6 to be sure that we got West Court Street to remain in Ward 6 going forward, so that Amy would not be moved out of the district in the next slide.
Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you. That was very helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it.
The next step here is an introduction to, an introduction to local law to adopt these, ward boundaries. Which does require some meets and bounds description in that local law. We'll figure out how to do that. But other than that, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll now report on the payrolls for the various city departments approved by the Common Council. For the weeks ending October 3rd, 2024, in the amount of $5,041.65, and October 30th, 2024, in the amount of $626,368.18. I'll also note that the Common Council approved the bills audited for the weeks ending October 25th, 2024, in the amount of $1,728,634.05. November 1st, 2024, in the amount of $4,350,752.86, and November 8th, 2024, in the amount of $678,175.02. I'll also note that the various city reports submitted by the department heads, items 6.1 through 6.4. Now move on to liaison reports, Plattsburgh Public Library, Councilor Manette.
I have nothing to report.
Liaisons for Climate Smart Task Force, Councilors Talon and or Avery.
I don't.
I don't really have anything to report, except I do believe our next meeting is going to be November 20th at 5 o'clock at the Plattsburgh Public Library.
All right, thank you. Scarlett, will you please read the titles of the resolutions to be acted upon?
Item 7.209, budget adjustment sewer fund capital reserve.
Well, sorry. Motion. Councilor Gibbs, second. Councilor Manette, discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Bond.
Yes.
Counselor Avery.
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs.
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette.
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.210, authorizing renewal of the city's municipal advisory services agreement effective November 7th, 2024.
Motion. Councilor Gibbs, second. Councilor Manette, discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Bond.
Yes.
Counselor Avery.
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs.
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette.
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.211, approved municipal advisory scope of services and requested disclosures related to the city of Plattsburgh's 2024 public improvement bonds.
Motion. Councilor Gibbs, second. Councilor Bond, discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Bond.
Yes.
Counselor Avery.
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs.
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette.
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.212, authorized contract website hosting with Clinton County, November 1st, 2024 through October 31st, 2025.
Motion. Councilor Manette, second by Councilor Gibbs, discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Bond.
Yes.
Counselor Avery.
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs.
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette.
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.213, authorized right of entry property license agreement, Harborview.
Motion. Councilor Manette, second by Councilor Avery, discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Bond.
Yes.
Counselor Avery.
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs.
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette.
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.214, award of the construction phase for the city beach toilet facility.
Motion, Councilor Gibbs, second. Councilor Manette, thank you. Discussion. Most people will know bathrooms are probably, I will tell you straight up, the first call I ever get in a season is when's my bathroom gonna get open? When is this bathroom getting open? What's this park bathroom? What's wrong with this? So finally we get bathrooms, new bathrooms at the beach. Finally. Other bathrooms are coming, Councilor Bond. We're fixing the roof at South Acres. We'll fix that bathroom too. But again, this is great for our beach, great for our waterfront, and it's about time. Roll call.
Counselor Bond.
Yes.
Counselor Avery.
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs.
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette.
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.215, approve CDM Smith WRRF Waterfront Integration Project Architectural Amendment 1, bidding and construction administration services proposal.
Motion. Counselor Gibbs, second. Counselor Manette, discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Bond,
Yes.
Counselor Avery,
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs,
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette,
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.216, travel request, water resources.
Motion. Counselor Talon, second by Counselor Avery, discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Bond,
Yes.
Counselor Avery,
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs,
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette,
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.217, authorizing MLB to purchase vehicles.
Motion. Counselor Avery, second by Counselor Bond, discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Bond,
Yes.
Counselor Avery.
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs,
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette,
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.218, authorizing MLB to contract for the repair, remanufacturing, and testing of the former Bailey Avenue substation switchgear and breakers.
Motion. Counselor Talon, second by Counselor Gibbs, discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Bond,
Yes.
Counselor Avery.
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs,
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette,
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.219, authorizing MLB to advertise for bids.
Motion by Counselor Gibbs, second. Counselor Manette, discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Bond,
Yes.
Counselor Avery.
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs,
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette,
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.220, authorizing MLB to write off unpaid final bills as required by the New York State Department of Social Services regulation.
Motion. Counselor Gibbs, second. Counselor Manette, discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Bond,
Yes.
Counselor Avery.
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs,
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette,
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.221, authorize acceptance of the 2024 New York State Water Infrastructure Improvement Act Grant Award Phase 4 Drinking Water System Upgrades.
Motion. Counselor Talon, second by Counselor Gibbs, discussion. Phase 4. Phase 4 of a WIA program. We're talking about $5 million of improvements to the water system upgrades. In addition to the work that we do with water improvement, sourcing, distribution, treatment, we also are part of a statewide program called the Drinking Water Source Protection Program. This is a group of local stakeholders that look at and contemplate and put forth guidelines on how we are protecting and sourcing our water. It's important. It'll be important for the next 500 years, if not more. And so the work that we do now does literally protect our water and water source and distribution and treatment for the next 500 years. Including in this, alongside of this as well, is the improvements and increase to where we source our water. As many people know, we have a reservoir with a dam that's not in the best of shape, and we've been slowly divesting from that water source and replacing it with underground water source, which again, really important for the health and safety of our community for centuries to come. Roll call.
Counselor Bond,
Yes.
Counselor Avery.
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs,
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette,
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.22, a resolution to launch a city council investigation as authorized by city charter section C3-8I of the City of Plattsburgh, New York Charter, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Motion. Counselor Talon, second. Counselor Manette, discussion.
Mayor, can you walk me through the section 2 with the body? My question ultimately comes down to in the charter, it states the city council, the line says city council, we're authorizing corporate council deemed to lead it and have an independent body. Can you walk through the thinking of that?
Sure. Just as outlined in the charter, an independent body be appointed to do this investigation. Having it be done by an independent group as identified by corporation council. At some point, yes, there will need to be, potentially an authorization of that body from the council. That's still to be defined. But essentially that is it. You're authorizing corporation council to identify that group of people or those people or that organization to perform this investigation. And as part of the charter, as it's clear, the investigatory body has subpoena power, they have the authority to do interviews, they have the authority to meet independently as needed to perform this investigation.
I think I would need clarification on that. I feel like my reading of the charter is the city council. We have the ability to do it. Yes, I understand there's a possibility of appointing another independent body, but I would imagine a city councilor, if not all of us, should be on that. And yes, I think corporate council should be in the mix, absolutely. But I feel like that may be obfuscating our duties. And I could be reading that wrong, and I would appreciate, I guess, an interpretation, but I guess that's how I'm reading it.
So it isn't, these are case by case situations. So say there was an allegation of a bad act by a city employee, a run of the mill situation that may be appropriate where this body would then be that investigatory body. In this context, due to the overwhelming political innuendos and allegations and personal allegations, it wouldn't make sense, frankly, for this body to do its own investigation. So, and frankly, haven't gone to the level of detail yet as to who that other body would be, but traditionally it's another law firm out of the area. And it's someone who's done this many times over, and you hire them essentially to perform this work, to create a report, to have a task, to have some kind of scope of work to come back to this level.
So I would like to bring up where the charter outlines the duties and responsibility, powers and duties of council as outlined in C3-8.
I do have to start to interrupt. We do have some refusal issues as well. So there is a duty of certain councilors to recuse themselves if there is a self-interest or a situation where they may be the subject to that investigation. So I want to raise that at the outset. If there is a basis for recusal that requires not only a recusal on the vote, but also discussions and deliberations leading to that vote.
So in C3-8-1.
So in this context, you would be someone who like to have recusal.
Well, I'm not
Who else?
voting right now.
What's
I'm not voting right now. We're in discussion.
A recusal involves discussion, deliberations, and votes.
Well, council, you're going to have to speak up.
Who else? I mean,
So in this context, there has been allegations against Councilor Gibbs as well as allegations against the mayor of West. So
both of you
a
can, both of
conservative
them can.
approach would be those two individuals would recuse themselves.
Well, then that invalidates the resolution because no one else here put this resolution on the agenda except for the mayor.
It was motioned by Councilor Talon and seconded by Councilor.
No, I'm talking about placing it on the agenda. Nobody on council did that. That was the mayor. So how can he put an item on the agenda when you're saying there might explicitly be a conflict of interest?
The conservative approach would be if there's a refusal, then both can refuse. There could also
He's not a
be-
voting member unless he's breaking ties. He's the one that put it on the agenda, Dean.
He put on the agenda, but it was motion on the table by two councilors.
That was on an agenda item placed here by the mayor that you were explicitly stating could possibly have a conflict of interest. This is outrageous. Council needs to step up and speak up right now.
I feel like this is
Can everybody hear me?
major. This is unbelievable. I have never been so, I feel dirty sitting here and witnessing this. The mayor said, when he put his statement out in the paper, he said he welcomes people to get in touch with, constituents to get in touch with us. And I respect everyone that stood up at that mic and said what they needed to say. And I got 3 phone calls. I wish they weren't phone calls because I have no proof. I have 1 voicemail, but that's it. And I believe we all received a letter in the mail stating basically how it was petty, it's personal from the mayor against Councilor Gibbs, and now after a second press release against myself that nothing was said, nothing has been done that is illegal. I'm so livid right now. I literally, I feel dirty sitting here because you're good, you're good.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Jeff.
Well, you know, this reminds me of the exact same thing that came up in 22. It was totally unfounded. There was nothing came of it. I see nothing that rises to the level of an investigation in this. I want to say that the mayor is the manager of that department, and if he has lost control of that department, it's not on the council to get involved in this. I saw nothing that rises to the level of having an investigation. If there is something illegal happening, if there is misdoing happening, then you should report it to the proper authorities at the state. This is not something that we should be getting into. I think this is way premature, and I have not seen enough evidence beyond what we had in 22 that amounted to nothing. I really don't see where this rises to this level. I'm just sorry, but that's my opinion.
Dean, you mentioned conservative approach. We're all mentioned in this. I just want to be clear. You mentioned the mayor and Councillor Gibbs, but all of us are in this. And I don't want to mince words, but that was just said. Am I reading that wrong? All of us, everyone on the council, for clarification, is mentioned in this resolution. Am I reading that wrong?
This is a unique situation, so there is no bright line answer. We do have a board of ethics, which is probably not going to provide much guidance here.
Sure.
From my perspective, the line was not mentioned, but subject or implicated versus mentioned.
And I think from my reading, I will echo Councillor Bond's comments to everyone that spoke today. Is yes, an investigation, and I'm fully supporting an investigation into the PD and communication in this, but I'm reading this document as an investigation into an email sent by Councillor Gibbs regarding the PD. So we are investigating Councillor Gibbs' accusations or the comments within an email. We're not investigating the PD.
The second part does reference potential targeted enforcement.
Sure. Okay.
So twofold.
So in that email that she sent, she mentioned, you're saying that she mentioned, I don't know, investigate claims made in an email from Councillor Gibbs alleging illegal activity and wrongdoing. Is she not allowed to write an email based on her opinion of the facts as she sees them and then send that to us? Is that what's?
No, it's not the issue. Yeah. It's I believe the intention would be put it all out there. If there's allegations of wrongdoing in the PD, that would be part of it.
Right, but I mean, this is mentioned as the first whereas.
She wasn't trying to hide them.
Is she or any of us not allowed to give our opinion based on the facts as we see them and send that in an email?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that.
We're okay to do that,
Yeah,
right?
that focus is on investigating the PD. That's the
Okay.
primary focus.
Okay, but,
Yeah, and the
right,
merits.
so if I write an email and I make claims based on facts as I see them about, say, I don't know, the fire department, would that be something that we'd have to have an investigation over?
If the body decided to, yeah. I'm
Okay.
sure.
So then, right, I got you. So then, the second whereas you're talking about recently separated member of Plattsburgh Policeman. This person was disciplined for inappropriate actions, correct? And you're drawing a correlative line between the first whereas and the second, correct?
So you're drawing a correlative line, sure, yeah.
Okay, so
one
right, but I don't see any evidence linking these two. She mentions this person in an email. But how is that indicating any sort of collusion or wrongdoing between these two, between her saying that and this?
I'm not following exactly what you're saying, but it's a situation where one thing led to another, where it opened up a box of review that uncovered other wrongdoing. So the purpose is to investigate any potential wrongdoing, identify it, hopefully solve it, and move on.
But there's no real, the wrongdoing was this person was disciplined, correct? For any wrongdoing?
Yes, and in the course of that investigation, revealed other information about the potential wrongdoing.
I see, and that's not mentioned in here? I don't see it anywhere. No, I don't.
Well, I would like to make a pretty clear statement here. There's no one sitting here at this table that can give any orders in the police department. No one has any authority there, only the mayor. So if you're trying to accuse somebody sitting here of giving orders or interfering with the running of the department, no one has the authority to do that. No one here has a key to the police department. If there is only one person here that can affect things that go on in the police department, and that is the mayor. So to say that someone could interfere in the goings on in the police department, that's totally false. No one has any authority there other than the mayor. That's all I have to say.
You know, when I started last year, January 1st, I was called into your office, Mr. Schneller, and you proceeded to brief me on incidents that had happened in the past. No.
Attorney-client confidentiality, that would be.
How? You didn't tell me that. You didn't say this is a confidential little meeting in your
I did
office.
say that, and it's implicit regardless, but.
You said nothing to me about that. You just laid it all out to me. You never said what I shouldn't and shouldn't say. I just shut down because I didn't think, I honestly, I didn't think it was such a big, I don't know, deal. You never told me to not say what you told me. And now this is all being blown out, and I'd listen to what those people tell me, that it's a personal vendetta, that that the mayor is just absolutely trying to do in Councilor Gibbs. And I don't,
I'm just gonna strongly disagree that I didn't say what I said was confidential, but the rest is your opinion.
well, I didn't say anything now, did I?
Dean, just to clarify, you're saying the September 8th email from Counselor Gibbs opened up new pieces within the PD? I'm just following that.
That September 8th email led wrongdoing in the PD as well as wrongdoing from the mayor's office.
And so based on that, you want to do an investigation, is essentially what we're doing.
It's a council-driven decision.
Right.
And at this point, Counselor Gibbs or the mayor can communicate in this conversation, discuss them.
That would be the application of the refusal process. Yeah.
Thank you.
There's a motion on the floor, any further discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Bond?
No.
Counselor Avery?
No.
Do I, Counselor Gibbs? Counselor Gibbs is recused. Counselor Talon?
Yes.
Counselor Manette?
No.
Counselor Moore?
No.
Defeated. Take notice that there is a public hearing being announced. The city of Plattsburgh will hold a public hearing on Thursday, November 21st, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. in the council chambers at City Hall. The purpose of this hearing is to obtain citizens' views and comments relative to the submission of an application to the Empire State Development for financial assistance under the Restore New York Communities Initiative. This project includes the rehabilitation of a 4,500 square foot property located at 5,500 Peru Street. The rehabilitation would consist of converting the property into an active mixed-use property with second floor space available for affordable 2-bedroom apartments, a first floor commercial space with a courtyard and green space. That announcement has been made for Thursday, November 21st, 2024, 5:30 p.m. I'll also introduce local law P5 of 2024, a local law amending charter section C2-11 to require a 2/3 majority for veto overrides and charter waivers. This is being introduced in part by Councilor Moore's introduction. Public hearing is now set for Thursday, November 21st, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. Is there any new business coming for this council?
I just wanted to go back on what one of the public comments was saying, since the investigation vote was defeated tonight, then would we be able to do the investigation through that other method? The method of the law enforcement misconduct investigation.
Allows anyone, not anyone, well, anyone to make a complaint to the Attorney General's office or through that division of the Attorney General's office.
Okay, so anybody could do that.
Yeah, so it's very broad, broadly acceptable.
Okay, I just wanted to find out about that since it was implied that we should do that. So.
Any other new business? No move to executive session. I'm sorry. I did. Yeah. Nothing further to come before this council. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Councilor Avery, second by Councilor Manette. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're now adjourned, folks.